If you've ever felt like building with AI is something that's only for giant tech companies with, bottomless budgets, you are definitely not alone. But what if there was a way to completely level the playing field? Today, we're diving into Hugging Face, the platform that is really changing the game for how we build, share, and deploy artificial intelligence. So let's see how they're pulling it off.
Okay, so to really get why Hugging Face is such a big deal, we first need to understand the problem it's solving. Because building powerful AI isn't just about writing some smart code. It comes with this massive set of challenges that can stop projects before they even start.
And that's the big question, isn't it? We see all these incredible AI breakthroughs happening, but for the actual developers and researchers on the ground, the reality is often a story of just immense difficulty and incredibly high barriers to entry. Now this is where it gets really real. First off, these huge models like BERT and GPT, they require a staggering amount of computational power. We're talking about entire server farms, not just your laptop. Second, even if you build a cool prototype, taking that and scaling it up for real-world enterprise use, that is a whole other, very complex engineering puzzle. And finally, trying to start from scratch, training a model on gigantic data sets is just unbelievably expensive and takes a ton of time.
So, with all those massive hurdles, how does anyone get anything done? Well, that's exactly where Hugging Face steps in. It's a platform that was literally built from the ground up to tackle these issues head-on and really to democratize AI development for everyone.
So here's the key thing to understand. Hugging Face isn't just one tool, it's an entire ecosystem. You should think of it as a huge, collaborative workshop and library for AI, making these state-of-the-art models accessible to pretty much everyone, from students just starting out to seasoned developers at big companies.
To really see how it pulls all this off, we've got to look under the hood at its core components. This is the toolkit that empowers the entire community, and it's pretty brilliant. And this right here illustrates the foundation perfectly. You've got the models, which are basically the pre-trained brains ready to go to work. Then you have the datasets, which is the fuel you need to train or fine-tune those models. And finally, you have spaces, which let you build and show off these cool, interactive demos of whatever you create.
So let's start at the absolute beginning of any AI project, the data. Before a model can understand text or see an image or hear audio, all that raw information has to be translated into a language it gets. And that is the job of a tokenizer. Honestly, tokenizers are the unsung heroes of the whole process. They break down input into these little manageable pieces called tokens. But they also handle all this crucial technical stuff, like padding to make sure all the inputs are the same size, truncation to cut off inputs that are too long, and creating attention masks so the model knows which parts of the data are real and which parts are just filler. And they do all of this ridiculously fast because they're optimized with Rust.
Okay, next up is the pipeline. And this thing is an absolute game changer, especially for getting ideas off the ground fast. Instead of you having to manually write code for every single step, prepping the data, running it through the model, then cleaning up the output, the pipeline just bundles it all into one simple function.
And that's the real magic of it. It just slashes the amount of what developers call boilerplate code, all that repetitive, standard stuff you have to write over and over again. This lets you test out a new idea in minutes, not hours. It's a massive time saver.
Now, let's talk about the heart of the whole community, the Model Hub. This is where everybody comes together to share what they've built. It hosts thousands upon thousands of models for pretty much any task you can possibly imagine, all ready for you to download and use right away.
Seriously, this is the perfect analogy. If you're a coder, you know GitHub is the one central place for sharing and collaborating on code. Well, the Model Hub is exactly that, but for the building blocks of AI. It's a space that's totally built for collaboration, for versioning, and for open source experimentation.
Okay, so we have seen the tools, but what can you actually do with them? Let's take a look at how they all come together to build some of the real-world applications that are shaping technology right now as we speak.
This table gives you such a fantastic snapshot of just how versatile the platform is. For natural language processing, you can pull names and dates out of text or summarize super long articles. For audio, you can convert text to speech. In computer vision, you can build systems that find objects in a photo. And then you get to the multimodal stuff, where you have these incredible tools that can create an image just from a text description. I mean, the possibilities are just vast.
So are you feeling inspired? The best part is just how incredibly easy it is to get started. It's not some long, complicated process. You literally just head to the website, create an account,
Fill out a quick profile, and boom, you're in.
Just like that, you have access to the entire ecosystem, and you're part of this massive community of builders. It's that simple.
All right, so while Hugging Face makes AI incredibly accessible, it's not a magic wand. It's really important to keep the real-world challenges in mind because they don't just disappear.
Here's a perfect example. The platform gives you access to these insanely powerful models, like BERT and GPT. But what the source material points out is that it doesn't always explain the really deep architectural differences between them. And what that means is that as a user, you still need to do your homework to figure out which tool is the right one for your specific job.
And this is such a crucial point from the sources. The open source nature of the Model Hub is its greatest strength, for sure. But it also means that, well, quality can vary. Not every single model is created equal, so it is absolutely up to you to test and validate a model before you rely on it for anything important.
So, to wrap up the key things to remember, these large models still demand a lot of computational power. Scaling for enterprise use is still a complex task. And you must always check the quality of community-shared models. Hugging Face lowers the barrier to entry, but it doesn't remove it completely.
By putting state-of-the-art AI into the hands of millions, Hugging Face has created this unprecedented landscape for innovation. The tools are there, the community is building at a scale that we have just never seen before. The only question left is the one right here on this slide. What's next? And maybe more importantly, what are you going to build with it?